I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
We're back with more Oops, the podcast, a brand new episode, hot off the press.
Oh, yes.
I'm Francis Ellis, joined as ever by my intrepid colleague and co-pilot. We're both co-pilots. There's not a pilot and a co-pilot. Two co-pilots. Giulio Gallerati.
That's right. Rule of Thread spring collection wearing Giulio Gallerati.
Yes,
baby.
that's a nice peach.
Do you like this color on me?
It's a nice creamy peach.
A little pastel.
Looks like a yogurt that I would want to get to the bottom of.
Because you know that there's much denser peach
There could be
concentrate.
Fruit. There could be some compote.
Some compote. Oh
some
my God.
compote on the bottom.
Some compote.
Yes, a nice chunky marmalade. Well, Giulio, I have so much to speak to you about.
Well, dude, before any of that, I want to first congratulate you on a great weekend at Gotham.
Thank you.
What a great, I went to the Saturday Late Show to check it out. Great show. Really well done.
It was ripping in there. I was very pleased. The audience was super agreeable.
It was great, dude. And also, I just thought it was like a really fun format. I mean, it's like predominantly stand up, like over 90%, and then you opened with a new song that was hilarious, and it murdered. And then you went into doing stand up, and I was like, he's like opening for himself. This is crazy. That was the thought that I had, dude. You rounded it out nicely. It was just really solid all the way through. Great
Thanks,
show.
man. I do not know yet the proper format in how to blend the music and the jokes into one cohesive act.
And I know that you probably get tons of conflicting feedback where like some people think you should go heavier in one direction and other people think you should go heavier in the other direction.
Well, the general consensus seems to be that I should focus almost entirely on the music.
Right. From just from
a differentiating
friends.
standpoint. Well, no, more my like representation.
Oh, really?
But
Oh,
also, Sierra. I mean, the sort of prevailing sentiment seems to be that that's how I'll differentiate myself and find a way to not just be another white dude doing comedy.
Interesting.
So I'm opening my mind more to that. I've been told that for years. I resisted it in the sense that I came into this with a real appreciation and respect for the spoken stand-up craft.
Yeah.
And didn't want to not be considered a real one of those, but
yeah, that's like an annoying that I think I feel for you on that because it's like it's a very good example of like what we assume the kind of our peers think about musical comedy quote, right? And but the fact also is that it's really fucking solid and funny and a good thing, you know what I mean? So like that generalization is of course not a fair one, but it must be like a difficult thing to like to figure out.
Well, I think one thing I've come to terms with is that, there's bad musical comedy in the same way that there's bad spoken comedy.
And quite frankly, it might even be, it's easier to do bad musical comedy because the fact that it's music just like makes it more engaging and drowns out the silence.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of really bad musical comedy
Really?
and it tends to be from like the worst types of comedians.
Yeah.
Like when I was starting comedy, there was a lot of musical comedy
Interesting.
in the arena that we were doing it, and
Yeah.
it was not good.
But boy, when it's done well, it is uplifting and fun.
Yeah.
Man,
you do it great, man.
If you go back and watch, I'd highly recommend to anyone go watch the Flight of the Conchords 2019 Live from London special on HBO. It is the most fun. I grew up long car rides with the family. We used to listen to Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know them?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
My
Peter,
parents
Paul, and
listen to
Mary.
them,
We would listen to the Smothers Brothers.
too. I don't know them.
So that was my dad bringing them in because they were like iconic.
What's a good song? Maybe I know the songs.
Well, it's more. I don't even know if I would know a name of their song.
Got it.
But it's like an act. The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour was an iconic TV show, I think in the 1960s.
Okay.
That was pretty groundbreaking. Steve Martin wrote for it, which was one of his major starting breakout things. And it was, they were kind of considered fringe and outspoken, certainly on the Vietnam War. They would have members of the Beatles would come on their show. I mean, they were a big deal.
Sick.
It's
like the Eric Andre show of the 60s.
Yeah, but even more a little bit sort of anti. They were seen as rebellious, and I don't know, and it's hard to believe because they weren't particularly political. But Tommy Smothers and Dickie Smothers, their live music, their stuff. We used to listen to this in the car, and I mean, it was brilliant. The music is brilliant. They're great folk musicians, but they're hysterically funny. And so that's what we listened to in the car as a kid. And I guess it was ingrained in me, and without knowing it, if I ended up being a successful touring musical comedian, I'd be very happy. I wouldn't feel like I'd lost the purity of the spoken word or whatever.
Yeah, that's nonsense, dude. That's like a nonsense thing. The idea that like it's less worthy or something.
Right. Well, Ryan's been cutting up what this new song, which I suspect I'll probably post soon because there are some timely components to it. And I'm very excited about it. It was something I worked really hard on and took me forever to memorize. I had played it for you once or twice in this apartment. No one really laughed.
All right, so in my defense, the second time he played it, it was like an ambush. Like I was looking at my phone. I didn't even realize he was playing a song. He wasn't like, can you listen to this song? He just played it and then was like, what do you think? And I was like, dude, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
You guys were there, right? Do you remember how I sat down and said, would you guys mind if I played you a song and you can tell me if it's funny or not? Remember those words?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't. I'm serious.
It's because you were on your damn phone.
I wasn't listening. But
even
dude,
for the preamble.
But the first time you played it, I do remember you saying that. And I did listen.
That's true.
And I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But it was only the beginning.
It needs a live audience and you need to be facing the audience. So whatever, I pulled it off. Here's something really interesting.
Yeah, I don't even think that's true. I truly believe that if I had been listening, I would have enjoyed it and given positive feedback.
I guess the point is that with a song, you don't know it's funny until you play it in front of a live crowd. And that's what made me so nervous about it. Because unlike a joke, which if you're 30 seconds in and it's bombing, you can just abandon ship. Be like, all right, that needs more work. People laugh and you move on. Song, I'm sitting down at the keyboard for 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long one too.
That's a long period of time to not have the crowd with you.
So you had it down when I saw you do it. Was it how many tries did it take to get it that smooth?
The first show, I had most of it, but there's this one part that's complicated where there are a lot of lyrics in a very short order, and I screwed up the order of that. And then I sort of had to make up a filler line, and was just people probably wouldn't have known that I'd messed up, but I knew.
Yeah.
By the Saturday early show, I had it down.
Nice. Was it 4 total shows?
Yeah.
Nice.
But get this. Did I tell you this?
I don't know.
I told Ryan this. Ryan was there for this. So the Saturday late show. No, excuse me. The Saturday early show. All the shows were sold out. I'm in the green room, which is downstairs. The showroom in which we perform is upstairs.
So is the green room the other showroom?
No.
I've never been to the green room there.
It's in a little hallway. It's
like
pretty
through
small.
the kitchen?
No.
No?
I don't know.
You don't have, so, okay, whatever. Doesn't, how to
You know the bathroom's on the left?
Yeah.
If you were to keep walking straight,
Got
there's
it.
a little hallway that says employees only on the left, past that door.
Got it.
Green room.
Got it.
Point is, I walked out of the green room while the host was on. I'm about 25 minutes before I'm about to go on stage. There's a guy with 2 women down there, just hanging, sort of standing in the hallway area. They say hi to me. I say hi. They say they don't have tickets. It's sold out. Is there any way that I can sort them out? And I said, oh gosh, I don't know. I'll text around, but I think your best bet would probably be to wait at the ticket place and just assume that someone's not going to show up, and then they'll let you in. And they said, okay, but we're counting on you. Now, keep in mind, I'm about to go on stage.
Oh God, dude.
For an hour, 55
Disaster.
minutes, whatever, and all I'm thinking about is my act, and I'm nervous, and my family's going to be there, and all this. And now all of a sudden, I'm being tasked with like unearthing 3 extra tickets for these total strangers.
Your family came to the first one on Saturday?
My aunt and uncle came to the first show on Saturday. And so I'm like, all right, I'm definitely not really going to deal with this. I'm sorry, but like I whatever. But I went back into the green room, and they saw me go back into the green room. And this is important. Later, I go upstairs. I did ask at the podium, did those people get in? They said, yes, they got in. And I said, okay, good. I go in and I do the show. At one point in the show, thinking back, I do remember seeing that guy stand up during my act and walk out. I assumed to go to the bathroom. After the show,
Oh my God.
and by the way, I realize I'm talking
Where's
very
this?
slowly.
No, it's okay.
so-
Where's this story going? It's stressing me out.
Dude, after the show, I'm back downstairs. I go into the green room so that I don't, I'm not being around. There's too many people probably for me to try to say hi to everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm just chilling, waiting for people to kind of filter out. But I open the door because my aunt and uncle are there and my neighbors, and I wanted to say hi to them. And I'm sort of holding the door open to the private area and giving them hugs. And that guy comes up, and I'm like telling my aunt and uncle, like, hey, come into the green room, And he goes, can we come in?
Oh God.
And I was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just kind of friends and family. He was like kind of miffed that I would not let him in. This is a total stranger.
Jesus.
Now, a couple minutes go by. I poke my head back out to let in my neighbors. He comes up, sees me poke my head out, comes up, holds up my wallet. And he goes, is this yours? And I said, oh my God, yeah. And he goes, I found it on the ground. And I go, wow, thank you so much. I can't believe this. I don't know how that would have fallen out of my pocket. What a relief that I didn't lose my wallet. He goes, no problem. Hands it back to me. Couple minutes go by. I then, like at this point, I've hugged my neighbors, my family. They leave. Everyone's kind of left. I go back out into the hallway. Everyone's gone except this guy. He goes,
He has updates every time. It's crazy.
dude, he goes, by the way, I didn't find your wallet. I went into the green room, found it in your coat pocket, took it out, and then gave it back to you.
What the fuck? What the fuck, dude? Are you saying this is real?
And I go,
What the fuck?
why would you do that? And he goes, it's funny.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
Oh my God, dude.
I don't know if it's funny. That doesn't seem funny. And then he like went to shake my hand. And you know how I hurt my hand playing basketball?
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a handshake that was punitive.
Oh God.
It was the type of handshake to hurt you. You know what I mean? Like in a way where he squeezed these fingers together, the 4 fingers excluding the thumb, layered on top of one another, wedged them like a vice, and it hurt my fingers so much. And I started trying to pull my hand away because my fingers are still injured, and he held on. And he was like, we'll see you at your next show or something.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
God.
okay. So he goes away. I tell the people in the green room, I tell Ryan this story. We're all like, what the fuck? What was that? Keep in mind, I knew that I had not brought my wallet on stage, but I was so flustered by
He
this.
left the show to take your
He
wallet.
left the show mid-show to go down, sneak into the green room, hunt around, find my wallet in my coat pocket, and then hold on to it for the rest of the show to then give back to me as some weird gag.
Dude.
I told Ryan, I told the guys,
that is so weird.
the security guards at Gotham are old school. They're all retired
Dude,
cops.
that's what I was just going to say. They're like scary.
They're scary guys.
Yeah.
They're
How do you
they're
not just have one of them
sentinels.
standing out in front of the...
Well, I told one of them this and the whole story, and instantly he picked up his walkie-talkie and he was like, Richie, get down here. And I'm like, listen, the guy gave it back. I don't really care. I wouldn't press charges. Is there a way to lock the green room? He's like, this isn't up to you anymore.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, uh-oh, this guy's going to die. This guy is dead. I hope he's gone. I hope he's left.
Oh my
You know,
God,
they checked the
dude.
security footage, all that. But it was a very kind of rattling moment in the middle of the two shows.
Dude, it's...
And one of the most bizarre fan interactions I've ever had.
Yeah,
And
it's scary.
it comes on the heels of our conversation about how some people just don't really know how to interact. I suspect that this guy, in his mind, was trying to create something memorable, or thought that I would think this was funny, and you know that we would bond over it. I guess I have no idea, but it was so weird and so invasive.
Dude, it's scary, dude. That's like fucking Bruce Willis, like, remember being in Sixth Sense, the guy like standing in his room who like, the movie's so old, there's no spoiler alerts anymore, right?
No.
Okay, he basically shoots the guy at the beginning of the movie. But like, it's only a couple steps removed from what happened to you, dude. You getting shot.
I hope it's
in cold
more than a
blood.
few steps.
I don't think it's that many. I think it's less than it is more. I think it's like 3 steps away.
Jesus, dude.
Sorry.
Well, I mean,
Careful, dude. Sorry.
there is something comforting about knowing that he was with a date.
Wasn't he with 2 women?
He was with 2 women. One of them was his, I think, significant other, and she was, you know, pretty. So I like to hope that someone who's that unhinged is not able to keep a steady relationship going. I don't know why, like that, how somehow comforts me a little bit, but maybe I'm just dead wrong.
No, yeah, fair. I agree. I think that's definitely positive.
It worried Sierra when I told her this story.
It's a scary story.
Because
dude.
my driver license does have our full address on it, including our apartment number. And he held on to my wallet for God knows. Listen, there's a good chance that he does listen to the podcast. Buddy, if you're out there, what the fuck? Why did you do that? That wasn't good. That wasn't a good moment for us. There are better ways for us to be pals.
Dude,
I don't even know if that's what was his intention was, but I'm like thinking to myself, man, do I out this guy on the podcast? And I'm like, I hope he's fucking listening.
Damn, bro.
So that he hears how unnerving that was.
That's one of the weirder ones I've heard for sure.
What, isn't that so strange?
That's really weird.
Yeah.
It's really
Took a
fucking
lot for me to kind of gather myself and
Dude.
go back on stage for the Late Show. But
And dude, doing back to back long sets like that is like incredibly exhausting. And to have to deal with that in between is
Yeah.
insane.
well, that's why I normally don't, in between shows, I don't say hi to people just because that gets really tiring.
Totally.
But yeah, man, I mean, he found me.
You sure
He
did.
stole from me. Man, I was wearing tight pants. And so I didn't want my wallet
Yeah,
in my back
popping out,
pocket because
yeah.
I knew I was going to sit down on the piano bench. So I made a point to put it in my coat pocket, which was hung up on the door handle of the green room. And this is, by the way, I talk about gaslighting in my act.
Mhm.
This is gaslighting, right? Perfect example.
And by that guy?
When he said, this fell out of your pants, I found it on the floor. Instantly, my reality changed. And I instantly thought I did bring my wallet up on stage.
Oh, wow.
It did fall out of my pants.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
he has made me doubt my own version of reality, which was what I knew.
Totally.
That I had left my wallet in the green room because I figured it was safe and sound, yada, yada.
Wow. Dude, scary.
Isn't that wild?
Scary. It's funny. Like with interactions with, supporters, people come to your shows, whatever, you can kind of tell which people are the higher risk individuals based on there's certain things you just, like people, the guy who's going to take advantage, this is a whole nother level of that. But there were signs that like, if you were to be like, who did that? You would have been able to guess that it was that guy.
Really?
Like, no, but like, hey, we're counting on you. All that kind of shit.
Yeah,
That's just like the guy who's going to become a weirdo in some way. Not that weird, obviously. You know what I mean? Not that weird, but like weird nonetheless.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell, even sometimes with messages, like people whose expectations are just so different than what is normal.
Mm-hmm.
In a good or a bad way, it doesn't necessarily matter. But you can kind of be like, oh, that's a person who like, I can't be as.
Yeah. It's strange. I have, I've existed in my career at a level of fan whatever where there's been no risk. I'm not someone that people give a shit about enough to like lose their minds over me.
Right.
You
Right,
look
literally.
at like the Beatles and women fainting in the audience, like no one's at risk of fainting when they see me. And I have no fear. I've never had any fear that a fan of mine would be incapable of just being a human being with me,
Right.
But this guy really blew it.
Yeah.
He did not get the human interaction element of it and
Didn't do a good job.
failed really astoundingly. So I don't know. That's all I got on that.
Well, dude, the after party was fun. And a lot of familiar faces there who I finally got to meet,
Yeah.
which was really cool seeing everybody.
Yeah. It was late.
It was late.
I mean, I didn't walk in until probably 1:15, 1 in the morning. And the bar, for whatever ungodly reason, did last call at 1:30. This is a New York City bar that's packed with people on a Saturday night.
Post-COVID.
What are we doing?
Like, how are you not
What are you
keeping
doing?
the bar open?
Find a way.
And
You
like,
know?
dude, like you'll never go to that bar again, probably, right?
I guess not. I mean, I do like that bar. It's always been where we would
Solid,
go
yeah.
after COVID.
But meaning like if you're like, let's go there, we can all go there. You won't all go there.
Correct.
Because it's just too high of a risk
And so then
of it closing. for no
everyone
reason.
walked down the street to Peter McManus Bar,
Mm-hmm.
which is a classic comedy bar, weirdly. I remember when I was at UCB, that's where everyone would go.
Oh,
Everyone from the improv world
Interesting.
would go there after the jams and the improv night, whatever, Herald night. And so there's I feel like the bartenders there are accustomed to comedians and people coming in and stuff. And we walked in and all the security guards from
yeah.
Gotham were there, which was pretty cool.
I didn't even notice that.
We
I
were
made
ripping
that.
shots with them.
That's sick.
Yeah.
How long did you stay there?
Well, so I hadn't eaten dinner,
Oh God.
and all of a sudden I'm drinking tequila, tequila sodas, a shot of tequila, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this is going to make me sick if I don't. I need to put something in my stomach because it's now 3 in the morning.
Mhm.
Maybe it's 2:30, 2:45, and I haven't eaten since lunch. So I sort of Irish goodbyed out of an Irish bar
Love it.
and just made a motion to Sierra that I was going to get pizza, But she might have thought like, oh, are you going to get dental trays done? You're going to get a night guard fitted? Where? And I jumped over to a pizza place intending fully to come back as soon as I just grabbed an emergency slice. But 10 minutes later, as I'm eating my slice, she texts me and says that she's on her way with a couple of friends who were staying with us
Oh, cool.
to have a slice too.
Nice.
And then I felt bad because I had not said goodbye to all these people at the bar.
Mm-hmm. It's fine. It was so crowded.
Yeah.
So we initially It's funny, the night, like you said, it got like super late, and we had sort of thought that we were going to go. I'd promised a friend that I was going to go to his thing after your stuff was done. So we were drinking at Copperstill. We went to the other bar. It was so crowded. We're like, it's going to take so long to get a drink. Like, let's attempt to go. And we did. So then it must have been like, I think it was like 2:30.
Yeah.
And we get in a taxi, go to the other place, and everybody was gone.
Yeah.
But dude, you can't. And that's the thing. I was like, I knew that was going to be a late night. Your thing was the priority. I was like, I'll try to come, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it there in time. But it was fine. And it was funny, dude. I like wasn't that drunk, and I show up at this place where the only people still there are like the most drunk people ever, and they were trying to do like a kind of, remember the Box? How like they'll do that show late at night. They were doing that at this place too.
What was this place called?
It's Paradise Club, which is like House of Yes.
Isn't that where we've performed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Up in Midtown or something? Yep. Okay.
So anyway, I know, random location, but it's cool. And it's like, again, House of Yes people, like they do a good party, but it was really funny to see people like dancing to like that kind of EDM kind of music when I'm like not drunk. And it was just really, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, these are like parallel realities.
I know.
Yeah. Like the people dancing also, it's like hard to dance to that kind of music without having it be like super effeminate. So there are all these like manly guys just like being like, dude, it was doing the finger, and like Hill Dog and I were just fucking cracking up. Like, this is so weird to be at this not on drugs or really fucked up.
Let's
get out of here.
There's so many parties in the world where if you're not there from the close to the start, to be dropped in towards the end is disorienting.
It's just crazy.
And it made me I always thought about bouncers when when you see that, because bouncers on a nightly basis witness people who are on such a different planet from them. Their job is to remain sober and keep order. Yeah. And then those people's job is to lose all sense of order and get as drunk and fucked up as possible. And, I remember once talking to a bouncer who wasn't huge, and I don't even remember where I was, but I was saying, like, do you ever get in fights? Do you ever get worried about the fights? And he was like, if anyone's going to fight me, it means that they're so drunk that it doesn't matter.
Oh, interesting. That's so true.
Like I have such an advantage just by not being drunk like them.
Right.
That I'll win that fight.
Totally.
It's amazing. I love watching YouTube clips of guys picking fights with bouncers.
It's crazy. I need to watch more of those. You should send me
They're good. They're good. Yeah. There's a great one in England where it's like middle of the day.
Oh God.
And this guy I think he gets kicked out of the bar, right? And he's with a couple of his buddies, and he starts like screaming at the bouncer, and the poor bouncer's he's not even trying to like, he's not a bouncer who is looking forward to this.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't get the sense that he relishes the few occasions where someone gives him a reason. So he's really standing very stoically and kind of just stone-faced, and the guy keeps trying to like bum rush him and get back in, and he's like, no. And then the guy starts spitting on him.
Oh my God.
And he's still not doing anything, but then the guy starts like, puts his hands up and tries to like kick him. And then he like catches him one time, and then his buddy comes in and tries to attack him, and he catches the buddy and knocks them both down with one punch. And the guy filming goes, "Yep, right, solid." Like after each punch, he goes like, "Nice one." And he's so pleased with this. It was as if he was just a pedestrian walking by. Again, it's like 3 p.m.
There's something really satisfying about like the wrongful aggressor getting just laid out.
Oh, totally.
That's what's so great about those videos.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
Super satisfying.
I love that. It's interesting, dude. I've witnessed twice now in the last probably 3 months. I've witnessed 2 people get kicked out of shows at the Stand, where the same, for whatever reason, they had the same reaction. Both times it was because they were being unruly or drunk or totally violating their, unspoken agreement on their ticket that says like,
2 drink minimum.
behave
whatever.
yourself.
They don't even have that there actually. Okay, yeah.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
and our pal Joe Harari had to, he's the manager. He has to let them know, like, I'm sorry, you guys have to go. And I mean, Joe would be the first to say he's not like the biggest guy.
He's not. Yeah.
So these people don't almost want to take that from him.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have a big bouncer guy there, really. So Joe will go get one of the bartenders to sort of be there in case it get. And both times it got unruly. And I watched as the guy getting kicked out tried to be like, well, you're not giving me a reason why I have to go.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this utter and complete entitlement of place.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, I deserve a reason. Nope, that's not good enough for me. I'm going back in.
Right.
At which point, they're like, no, come on, come up this way. As soon as any contact is made, the guy starts getting shovey and jittery and whatever. And that's when it gets
ugly.
tricky.
I believe that they just hire a security guy.
They had to hire someone.
They just had to.
But there's this regular at the stand that I can't remember his name and I'm embarrassed, but he's a great dude. He's there 3 nights a week watching shows. Young guy. He's 6'8".
Oh my God.
He is enormous. And both times that this has happened, he was there and I went up to him and I was like, yo, you need to come over here and just loom.
Yeah, seriously.
In case, and he's like, okay, no problem. Puts his drink down.
Oh, that's
He's a
great.
gentle giant kind of guy.
Dude,
He's great.
hilarious.
All right. So that's it. Yeah.
Well, dude, yesterday was Hill Dog's birthday.
Hill Dog's birthday.
The end of Hillica.
The end of Hillica.
Hillica concluded.
Did your presence increase a little bit from Red Warheads?
I didn't think that I did a good job with that.
Oh.
So okay, the red Airheads obviously
Airheads, yeah.
should have been the first gift.
Yeah.
The first gift was actually these sound canceling sleep pods
Oh.
that are like pretty fancy. They're like supposed to be the best ones. And I gave those to her first.
Is that because you make noise in bed?
No, because there's so the noise machine has ended up sort of doing the trick, but just the construction around where we live is just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere, and like Saturday morning, they've been doing this crazy road work, like at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, like the loudest of the whole week. And we're like, are you fucking kidding? But the sound machine has really helped.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition, these noise canceling things, so those are good. And then I just got her like sort of a mixture of things, like a little sculpture for the apartment. I think I already told you guys about that. I got her one of those like oil diffuser things.
Oh, Sierra loves those.
Yeah. The one that I got her the smell was kind of terrible. We both agreed and we ended up throwing it away.
Yeah.
But the sentiment was nice. I picked wrong. I picked wrong, dude. My bad.
What did you pick? Do you remember the name of the flavor?
I can look.
Those are all so hit or miss. I'm not a big fan of artificial scents.
I feel you.
In
she isn't
general,
either.
they make me kind of nauseous.
So it's funny. I tend to like them.
Huh.
But this one literally gave me a headache. Black Viper.
Yeah. I'm surprised you thought a scent named after a venomous snake would be the winner. I mean, I got to go with something like calendula or,
That's good.
cherry orchard rather than like black adder,
Dude, very true. Okay, then I got her a couple other things that like it feels intrusive telling on the pod.
Oh, okay.
1 or 2 of things.
Sexy.
No, not even in that way. Just like things like reveal things that like maybe Hill Dog doesn't want people knowing about.
Understood.
Or who knows? Not high stakes. I know people are like, I need to know. You don't, I promise.
Right.
Then I also got her solid core gift certificate.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then yesterday treated her to like a nice day. We went to Pilates in the morning, which was very fun.
Yeah.
Did it together. And then we went to Siddell's.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a nice little spot
It's
for brunch.
bagels and really good bagel place.
I actually never been, but it's sort of like a little bit of a scene. But yeah, like kind of like smoked fishery.
Yeah.
Which honestly, the bagels at a smoked fishery, I just made up that term, by the way. They're different than the bagels at a bagel place.
Is that right?
I don't know if you've noticed that. Even like a Russ and Daughters or like a place that's like known for their smoked fish, the bagels are really small. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. But
I like that.
I do too. They require toasting. Whereas in my opinion, a very good bagel from a bagel place, if it's fresh, does not need to be toasted.
Nothing better than a warm, fresh bagel.
A bagel that doesn't need to be toasted is the pinnacle of bagel enjoyment.
Totally. Sierra will sometimes scoop her bagel, which to me is, I can't even begin to. The whole point of us being here is to eat dough.
Totally.
And to indulge. And you're telling me you want the lean version, the hollowed out bagel skin?
Dude, agree. Unless you're putting cucumbers and stuff in there, like you're like filling the moat with, you know what I mean, with stuff. Like, yeah, I agree.
It's not getting that much healthier. You might as well go for broke and then just,
And you need to be judicious with the cream cheese too there, because otherwise you'll just end up with 3 inches of cream cheese.
That's true.
Which is disgusting.
It is, yes. Those bagels start to look like those dental trays that I was talking about that they take the molds with. You bite into it, let it sit for about a minute, and then you pull it out. I mean, you could create a very good mouth guard from that thing.
Or a grill mold.
Yeah, more your speed.
More my speed. Dude. So, but then, all right, we went to dinner and it was also great. Ate a bunch of pasta, whatever, drinks. But this was the day that...
You went to Sisiamo.
Yes.
And loved it.
It was very good. Loved it.
Glad to hear
that. Good recommendation.
What a relief when you recommend a restaurant to someone and they go and they like it.
So it's funny. I wanted to make sure too, like, I hate the idea of being the guy who, when he has an opportunity to, gives more feedback than he needs to, just to like prove some point. I thought that like, I was really hoping that I liked it because I wasn't going to lie if I didn't, but like, there would be no reason for me to not like it. Like, I don't even know, you know what I mean?
Well, you could have, let's put it this way though. Even if I had the best experience, they could have had an off night. Maybe they screw up an order. They don't have your name. You have to get seated later, whatever.
Yeah.
And just the way it is, you're not having as good of an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Are you somebody who, if that's the case and someone has highly recommended something to you, you will not tell them for the sake of preserving their recommendation?
It depends who it is. Like if it's the type of person who's then going to spitefully reject my recommendations to prove a point, I'd rather not get into that sort of tit for tat.
Who does that?
Certain people, not you.
You're telling me that I say to you, go to this restaurant, it's spectacular. You go and you don't love it. But you're not going to tell me, yo, I hate to say this, we didn't like it. Because you know then that when you recommended that I watch Dune, I'm now going to be like, by the way, remember how I told you I liked Dune? I didn't.
No. I'm worried that when I really like something, you're going to go out of your way to not like it.
Wow.
When I'm like, you need to try this place after I had shit on the place that you told me to do that too.
You got people in your life who are keeping recommendation score?
No, but like, I don't like that dynamic. I'm still not going to, I can't. No. So for the most part, I can't hold back my true thoughts. Granted, I'm not like a harsh critic,
right?
In general, you know what I mean? But like, for example, I have friends who will send me memes all the time, and like, they're just not that great.
Mm-hmm.
Like certain people, I have a low expectations for. I'm like, this guy is gonna say it's something terrible, and it always is. And I'll like not react, or I'll give less of a reaction. But then when I send something, he'll like go out of his way to tell me when he doesn't like it, and it annoys me. It doesn't make me like avoid that. But you know what I mean? Whatever.
I see what you mean. And I do think that it makes more sense in the world of sharing memes.
Yeah.
Because what I offered as an example was ridiculous.
But the Dune thing. Well, retroactively rescinding your positive review in spite is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
That's like going into the green room and taking a wallet ridiculous.
Yeah.
Of criticism.
No, my example was too far afield.
It's crazy.
It was too far.
But dude, I'll tell you what, I thought it was really fucking good. The chef used to work at a restaurant that Hillary and I go to all the time. And it's funny, when I tell this story, I want to make it clear to people that like we don't have a place where we know a person. Like this is the only place in both of our lives where we like happen to go a lot and know the person. And the chef happening to move, us being like, oh, our chef, like I don't want people to think that we're like that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think
there's nothing wrong with being like that.
I think you're fine. I think you're fine. We've done enough episodes that you and I have both earned the benefit of the doubt. I hope when we say something that could be taken as either, I don't know.
Yeah.
Entitled or whatever.
So when Francis initially had told me about this restaurant, I was like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, we'll check it out. You know what I mean? And then I ended up putting 2 and 2 together, realizing that this only chef that I've ever met or known in my entire life happened to be working at this new place now.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was newsworthy. And I told you. And I then became very self-conscious that I sounded like I was trying to like one-up you or something. I was like, oh yeah, you liked it? Well, I know the chef.
Yeah.
I don't even know the chef, by the way.
The problem is, the reason you're doing that is because we do know people that would do that.
We know a lot of
that
people
happens
that would
all
do
the
that.
time in New
That
York.
happens to us a lot.
People will name drop, and they'll say the chef's first name. And you're like, you know a chef's first name? What is she, the lunch lady? Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? I hate that in New York. I hate that.
I hate it too.
When people drop like the restaurant group behind.
Oh God.
And then they're like, don't you know Danny
So-and-so's new
Meyer's
place. Yeah,
place?
literally, yeah.
Like he opened up surely they do Gramercy Tavern and Union Square Cafe. I mean, I'm now doing it, but that's only from having heard it so many times.
I know. It's crazy.
I don't know who owns the restaurant.
Dude, it's funny. The city, it's like, it's a good city because no one ever grows up, but it's also a bad city for that reason as well.
Yeah.
Like it's obviously more good than bad, but like people just stay teenagers here.
Yeah.
And like are just as catty at 50 as they were at 15.
True.
And it's fucked up.
True.
So anyway, I had that whole thought process with this restaurant. But anyway, very, very good restaurant. We were just talking about Hudson Yards is a cool neighborhood of New York City. It's brand new and like futuristic. There's a mall there that feels like something that would be in Dubai.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's awesome. Because there's no new shit here, dude. New York's a city where like you'll pay $7,000 a month for an apartment and your hallway will like smell like animal shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? Like New York, you make concessions here.
Yeah.
So to have a brand new thing is fun, I think.
I agree. To me, it feels like Gotham.
Interesting.
Gotham City.
Interesting.
Or maybe Metropolis.
Uh-huh. Right?
From Superman.
No, totally. It has like that. And everything's new. You can tell that like all the stores, they like, this is going to be our Hudson Yards thing. It's going to be sick.
Yeah.
They got like fancy people. Like, I don't even know if it's still there, but there was like the Neiman Marcus store.
Yeah.
Was just like super sick. Anyway, I love walking around, stuff like that. The restaurant was actually across the street from the law firm that Hillary's best friend in the world works at. They're such good friends that Hillary can't really see well, like into the distance. So like if something's 300 yards away, like maybe not 100 yards away, like she's not going to be able to know who it is, but she knew it was her friend.
Interesting.
Just because of the way that the blur was moving.
Yeah.
She knew. She's like, I know everything about her. I'm like, okay. Relax.
You know, that is so not where I thought you were going with this. I thought you were going to say they're such good friends that when she sees something 100 yards away, her friend will be like, that sign over there says, 25.
crazy.
She's her like seeing eye
They're
dog
on that level.
for a friend because she'll know
They're on
that
that
Hillary
level.
can't see it.
You met her, Emily. She came to the after party.
Gotcha.
That is her, like, they are just like best friends for their whole life.
Got it.
In this really unique way, because friendship, in my opinion, works the same way as relationships in a way where like it's hard to survive certain life transitions in friendship.
Mm-hmm.
You grow up with somebody, you go to college. Chances are that college experience is going to change both of you in a way that makes it harder for you to keep that same close level of friendship.
Yeah.
You'll try, but then over the years, it'll and then you take that next step. You go wherever you're going to go. And like, they've just been amazing at just like never becoming less good of friends.
That's impressive. And I don't know what it says about me that when you said that they're best friends for life, they'll never break it. My first thought was, let me try. I had this instinct of wanting to see if I could throw a
sabotage
wrench in their friendship. Like, watch what I can do.
That's funny.
Like, let me roll up my sleeves here and tell tell them rumors about each other that aren't true.
An Iago move.
Yeah.
Some good gaslighting. Dude, that's okay. So where I wanted to go with this, this dinner happened on the same day that the guy kind of went berserk in the subway. I still don't know what happened with the story fully,
Right.
but he was shooting everybody, and I don't know how else to say it. He was always shooting everybody, and there's a bunch of explosive devices that didn't detonate.
Is that true? I thought
don't know.
that was
Maybe
debunked.
not. Maybe not.
By the way, with all due respect, listeners, we are recording this at a time when the news of that story has not fully materialized.
Yes.
So
Sorry.
this is not a total lack of knowledge on our part. It's just the proximity to the event that is causing our ignorance.
Okay. Excellent. That was really nicely done. That was really good. But dude, so
Now we're safe.
now we're good.
No.
So I still don't know the full story, but it was impossible to get a taxi or an Uber because everyone was afraid of riding the subway.
Interesting.
So we tried, and dude, this restaurant is like 5 blocks away from us, avenues, so like far, kind of, but like 15, 20-minute walk. Hillary's wearing heels. She didn't want to walk that far. Fair enough. And for like 45 minutes, we tried to hail a cab, call an Uber, call a Lyft, could not get in a single one.
Wow.
Ended up taking the crosstown bus, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
The bus is kind of nice though.
Yeah, it's it's solid.
When you do it, you feel like a local politician running for office. You're like, I
See,
want
I'm
these
one of
people
you.
to see me, put my hard hat on.
I'm just like you guys.
Yeah, pick up a shovel, shovel one scoop of dirt onto the new foundation for the YMCA and wave a few times, then go home in my covered car.
Dude, I take the bus to LaGuardia
Do you?
exclusively. I refuse to pay for an Uber to the airport in New York unless I'm like going with somebody else
Yeah.
or like splitting it with somebody else or like, I don't know, whatever. So, but if I'm by myself, I will always take the train to JFK and Newark, and I take the bus to LaGuardia.
I did that for so many years, and
It's
it was a
solid.
source of pride for me.
You now live so close to
Now
LaGuardia.
we live so close to LaGuardia that
That's-
the Ubers are never expensive,
it's
and
cheap
they're
enough that it's
18
worth it.
minutes.
Yeah,
And I can't beat that.
fully the move. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So on this, the shooting on the subway,
Hmm.
I think as of this moment, nobody has died. And it's a miracle almost
I
that this
know.
guy fired, I think, 28 shots into a crowded subway filled with mayhem and confusion, and nobody was killed. So thank God for that. Instantly, of course, my hero fantasies started bubbling up. I mean, I spent hours thinking about
Ryan and I were talking about this on the walk over.
it.
So Ryan and I happened to take the train together today. We didn't know, but when we walked out, we bumped into each other, and he was talking about how his hero fantasies as well were sort of pepped up by
Yeah.
this. And I was like, dude, I bet Francis had a field day.
Yeah, I couldn't.
So-
I mean, I don't want to call it FOMO. No, I'm not going to say FOMO. No, I didn't have FOMO. Certainly not. But I will say that that morning, I heard about the event, and I still got on the subway just probably 15 minutes after that happened. Rode into the city from Brooklyn, not far from where that event happened, and then had a meeting, and then 2 hours later made a conscious decision to get back on the subway to come home. And while I was on I had brought my book. Usually I read my book on the subway. I did not read my book. I had my head,
You're
my
alert.
eyes were peeled. And
Head on a swivel.
what I was really looking for was not activity on my car, but activity on the adjacent cars, because that was the only way that I could have kind of dropped in on him. Do you know what I mean? Was to come through the emergency exit doors, the sliding doors.
But why? What if you were in the car that he was in?
Then I would have been in trouble.
But what if his back had been turned to you or something?
Well, I would have needed to move quickly.
You would have.
And I thought about that.
Mhm.
I did. But my fantasy was that I would see a commotion on an adjacent car while we were in motion, because the attack happened while the car was in motion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On the subway car?
Correct.
Oh, that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So nobody could leave. So they were all diving under the benches.
Oh my
was
god,
really fucked.
that's super fucked up.
Yeah.
I thought it was on the platform.
No.
What?
It was on the car.
fuck,
And he
dude?
threw a smoke bomb in first. So nobody could see. Nobody knew what was going on. It was rush hour.
Oh
on a
my
work day.
God. On the N train?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's really scary.
Holy
It's as bad as
shit.
it gets.
That is fucking terrible.
So I was sitting there and I was looking for smoke on the adjacent cars. And just sort of counting the steps that it would take for me to get to the door, you know, if I would be able to open it and then jump in. And again, really considering, I mean, I was seeing it through in my brain. Like, okay, I jump on him, I knock the gun to the ground, I subdue him, but I think I pick up the gun and I shoot him. Even though I don't need to. And
What if you
that's
just?
where
What if you like zip? What if you Batman him?
I don't have
Why
zip
doesn't
ties.
Batman kill people, dude? That's so lame.
It is. What's that? It's
He
just
like
against his
hangs them
rules.
all up, and they're like,
I think it's
and
yeah.
they're like, oh, it's ridiculous. It's true. He literally just
Yeah.
like leaves them like
I
ornaments.
think that's Spider-Man more, isn't
No,
it?
it's Batman too. But dude, okay, so you know Benny D, our
Yeah.
old pal Benny D. He was like, dude, he's like, that's why Ben Affleck Batman's the best Batman because he kills people. I was like, what?
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
He was more brutal than
Oh,
other
okay.
Batman.
But he didn't
He
kill
would like
himself.
break their arms and stuff. And that was
Okay.
from the Frank Miller comic, the
Got it.
graphic novel that came out, which was the major knock on that Batman was he was getting in trouble because his methods were becoming more brutal.
Got it.
I think it was Frank Miller. Will you look that up?
It's so funny. It's funny how in those movies, and sorry, I don't want to change the subject from the hero fantasy, but this should be said now or we'll get lost. It's incredible how like the Batman thing, they just keep recycling the idea that like the cops hate Batman. Like, why do the cops hate Batman, dude? Like, here's this, like,
I know.
are you serious? Like, he's perfect. Batman is like your militia. He does the things you can't do. It
Yeah.
doesn't make you look bad. He's not a criminal.
I think it's he's doing their jobs, and they feel like he's stepping in on their territory. And you know, who the hell does he think he is? This guy.
He's the
who's-
Batman, dude.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Well, we
sorry.
could have. No. I'm with you. Listen, I couldn't. I won't deign to understand the nuances of the Batman psychology and the cops and stuff. I won't mansplain that to you. But you know, again, I always return to this thing of, is it more heroic if I subdue him and hold on to him, maybe sit on his head, fart a few times? I don't know. I mean, that'd be funny.
What if you start saying, hey, you're like, hey, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, I would have his
And you
wrist.
start hugging him.
I think I'd have his wrist up against his shoulder blade. You know what I mean? I think that's how I'd do it.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I'd have his
Just
arm
like-
behind his back to make him not move, because if he does move, I could break his arm,
Okay.
break
yeah.
his wrist.
Fair.
But I've got him there, and I've got him. Is it more heroic if I just sit on him until help arrives, or has this guy done something so monstrous, and we all know about it, that even the witnesses who then say, you know, maybe they even change their story to protect me. But I've picked up a loose gun. This guy's like no longer a threat, and I boom.
What would you say something sort of like Hollywood before putting the bullets in his skull?
I'm trying to think of what I would say. That's a great question.
You have to.
Maybe I would turn to the crowd of people. I guess I would do it, and then I would turn to everyone and say something like, nobody saw that, right? Or I don't know. What should I say?
What if would
Now
you
I'm
say
nervous.
something? You could say something like to, I don't know, like something fucked up, or you could just like say something general. Like you could be like, and ain't nobody even gonna remember you.
Yeah.
Like you could say
yeah.
that. That seems like
Ooh.
savage.
Mhm.
Or you could be like, looks like it ain't your lucky day today.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are both solid.
Yeah. Something like this is the end train. Next stop, hell. I don't know. It'd have to be better.
What if you're like end train? More like the end train.
Oh, okay. We're getting closer.
And everybody's
We're getting
like,
closer.
everybody's soft
Yeah.
clapping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the end of the line. Or something.
Yeah.
Last stop. Or
Yeah.
next. Did you see?
Yeah, that's pretty good. There, what are things that you hear on the subway? The announcements. It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
stand clear of
Please.
the closing doors. Ooh, if I said that,
that's pretty good. That is.
I
good.
mean, even that, stand clear of the closing doors. Pop, pop, dead. I mean, nobody's telling on me. Imagine the police report. They're like, yeah, this guy came through the sliding doors wearing really preppy clothing. Like, I don't know where he came from. Next thing you know, he's tackled this guy. The gun clatters to the floor. I shoved it at him with my foot. He picked it up and said, I guess maybe he works for the MTA. Like, I don't know what it is, but he said, stand clear of the closing doors now. Made no sense because we were moving, but he killed him after that. It didn't really you had to be there, you know? That'd be cool. That would be a cool thing for someone to tell the police.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of eerie, and I don't even realize this at the time. Like, literally the night before, I was joking around with Hillary, and she got mad at me because she's like, this is scary. Stop. And I was like, what's scary? This is ridiculous that you think this is scary. But I was like, have you noticed that in every movie where somebody's holding a gun, that like the person who's trying to get them to put the gun down thinks there's a chance that they can get them to put it down? They always approach it in the same way. They'll be like, I know. They put a hand and they go, hold on one second.
Yeah.
I really think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they like, they approach closer and closer. And I was doing this to her and she was like, stop. I was like, why don't you go ahead and put it down before
What
you
was
do
she
something you're
holding?
gonna regret for the rest of your life? I don't know why I did that.
She was
accent.
just scared.
She was just sitting in bed and I was standing and performing.
That's
this
a good
at
game.
her. It's
I
a
like
good-
that game. That's a good game.
She always says that it like makes up for a large percentage of our relationship. Her sitting in bed and me pacing and talking to her. It's ridiculous, dude. Oh, hey now. Take it easy.
Easy girl.
Easy. Okay.
Easy girl. I talk to her like she's a upset livestock, you know?
Dude.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and put down that gun?
Yeah. Oh, whoa.
No.
It's not too late.
Yeah, it's not too
to
late.
not do this.
Not too late. Started watching Ozark, by the way.
You haven't seen, I forgot that you
That
hadn't
scene
seen
happens, yeah.
any of that.
I'm
Yeah.
probably on episode 4 or 5. Very solid.
You watching it with Hill Dog?
Watching it with Hill Dog.
Good. You guys are in for a treat, man.
It's so good. I have my same critique that I have of every show where they just like make the rural people look like they're all morons. That like is annoying. But like obviously it's not that.
That will change.
Okay.
There's you'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. But dude, it's great.
One
Captivating.
Incredible.
Great show.
The way, they've kept it interesting the way that Breaking Bad kept it interesting, where you
You're
were
right.
like, how could there possibly be more room for character development? And then they'll do something that just
Sick.
gives them another 400 yards. But one thing that I love about Ozark is, you know, they were in the final season now, and they released part 1, like season 4 or 5, part 1,
like a Game of Thrones situation.
Yeah, and I assume, and it was like 6 or 7 episodes, and I just assume when they do that the second part is going to be another year. But we finished the last episode of the new season that came out, and the whole part 2 drops in like 2 weeks.
Oh wow. Cool.
And they didn't take that much time
Cool.
between part 1 and part 2, which I'm really relieved about,
yeah.
because I'm still close to
Yeah.
it. And one of the hardest things about Ozark is going from one season. You're in luck that you started it this late. I've had to
It's the way.
watch so many goddamn previous season recaps
Yeah.
to have a clue
Yeah.
about what was going on, because so much time elapsed between the seasons.
It's the one downfall with like highly produced television is
Yeah.
that the amount of time it takes to put the new season out.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna have to watch 3 seasons of Stranger Things to understand season 4 that's coming out. Looking forward to that.
Have you not seen Stranger Things?
I have. I love it.
Buddy, I got a new show for you.
Oh yeah?
Buddy boy.
Hit me.
Tokyo Vice
Oh, nice.
on
I'll
HBO.
write it down. What is it?
Oh
Tokyo
my God.
Vice?
Tokyo Vice.
Right.
Okay. This show, everybody listening at home, I'm sure that by the time this episode drops, this show will have
The cat will be
caught
out
fire.
of the bag.
Buddy, it is excellent.
Sick.
Okay. It's Ansel Elgort,
Mhm.
who grew up here in New York City, was one of those
West Side
kids
Story.
that like, was he in
He's
the
in the
West
new
Side?
one, yeah.
Interesting. one of those kids who went to like LaGuardia School for Performing Art. Maybe he went to Beacon. I don't know. But was just like a New York City kid, you know, and kind of like Chalamet and that class, Lucas Hedges, et cetera, of kids that just came out of New York and were like destined for greatness. But he took on this role, and I'm not sure if it's a series or just a limited series, one season, but it's set in Japan, in Tokyo. It's based on a journalist who went over there, who spoke totally fluent Japanese and started working on the crime beat for a newspaper, and started covering and getting in with like the Yakuza, which is the organized crime over there. And dude, first of all,
so it's like based on a real thing.
It's based on that guy's story, on his book that he wrote. And he was a young guy.
Cool.
And Ansel Elgort plays him. And Ansel Elgort's Japanese is stunning.
Really?
Dude, I don't know how he did this, because I looked it up. I was like, okay, well, maybe he just grew up speaking Japanese somehow. But the article I read said that he only spent 1 month taking 4 hours of Japanese classes per day, to the point where by the end of it, he could improvise in Japanese.
Crazy.
But that doesn't seem like enough.
Dude, okay. So this kid that I know who works over there, and he's smart. He like works at Goldman Sachs in Tokyo. And he has been trying to learn Japanese for like years. And he's actively trying to. And like his dad loved Japan. Like I think he's always like, and he'll go to like these bars and like drink and like try to talk Japanese with the people, which is apparently like a good way to do it.
It's a huge drinking culture. And just like China, all business transactions are not conducted until people are drunk, because there's a belief, and this is what I've been told, there's a belief that people are only honest when they're drunk. So they won't trust you until you've downed 5 whiskey sours in front of them.
So it's also like customary there for just like businessmen to just be like sleeping on the sidewalk in their suit, like hammered. Huh. Yeah. And my friend was saying that if you go out with your coworkers and you get fucked up and like you start sort of like bearing your souls to each other, the next day at work, you're not supposed to reference it at all. If you're like, oh, last night was like crazy, you're like, that's like not cool to do that.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like, it seems like a very restrictive culture in that way.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys need to chill. Like, you need moderation.
It also sounds kind of great, though.
Yeah.
There's just no consequences for being the guy who's like, I love you guys. I'm going to tell you that. I fucking love you guys. It's like, dude, you work in HR, man.
I fucking love you, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But dude, my dad told me that the most drunk he's ever been in his life was when he was in Japan on a business trip, and he didn't have a choice.
Dude, your dad seems like a good hang.
Cool.
Is he? He's
cool
really
guy.
like easygoing guy, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah. In his early business years, they had a lot of clients overseas and whatnot, and he would go on these trips himself. And he went to Japan, and they went to some bar, and like they were just force feeding him these whiskey sours.
Oh, that's fun.
He said he drank 12 whiskey sours. Yeah, I know. I was like, dude, 12 whiskey drinks. That's what he said. But he was like doing his best the whole time, because he knew what he was getting himself into, and so he was like drinking waters and like made sure to take aspirin or whatever before he went to bed. But it was like it was scary. It's like a hazing ritual.
Totally. It's literally like dangerous.
There was an article I read not long ago about how in Japan, people who don't drink, it hurts their professional ascension.
Interesting.
And there are a lot of people who, were alcoholics and have become sober as a method of self-preservation, of course. And that even if you say like, I went to rehab, I'm like 28 days sober, like they don't care.
Oh, wow.
And you won't get promoted, or you won't get assignments. Like it's bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you been there before?
No, but the show, the whole time, from the moment we started watching it, we could not stop saying like, we gotta go.
We gotta go. So it's funny, dude. Do you do this? Well, you definitely don't, because you don't look at this kind of stuff the same way as me. Meaning that if you're like, we gotta go, you wouldn't be like, I would go anyway without you. You would like want to go do that with her, right? Or like,
I think at this point in my life, for a trip that far, It would have to be both
Totally.
of us,
Dude,
unless it was comedy.
Right. So I'm saving Japan for Hill Dog.
Yeah.
I do that. I'm like, okay, these are places where we realistically would go together. So
Mhm.
I'm saving that one for us. That's gonna be fun.
I'd like to go.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to go. I think I've been told the food in Tokyo is like the best food city in the world.
Wow. It's also crazy. There's like restaurants on like in apartment buildings.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure they're not apartment buildings, but you know what I mean? Like
Back
the
alleys.
18th floor,
Yeah.
like everything's just like up.
Yeah.
I would love to go there. I do this every year. I don't know if I've talked about this on the pod before. In my quest to go to every country, I think that a way to do it without it being oppressive is to like go, if I go to like 6 new countries a year, I'll be able to do it if I live to be a reasonable age without having to like make my entire life about that. So at the beginning of every year, I start figuring out how I'm going to do it. And it's starting to come together nicely for me now.
Dude, 6 countries a year is loco.
It's not though.
That is so many countries in a year.
So dude, I went to
That's like a diplomat schedule.
So dude, it's not that crazy. It's like very doable. I did it in 2017. I went to 7. 2018, I didn't travel internationally for some reason. I don't know. I forget what
Yeah.
happened.
So that means you need to get to 12 the next year.
So, but I thought of this in 2019. In 2019, I went to 7. 2020, obviously COVID, I only went to 1. 2021, 7 again. This year, I have 4 scheduled. 3 for weddings, 4th because a person's going to be living somewhere, and then I just have to figure out 2 more. It's going to be cake. Because then when you're gone on your honeymoon, I'm going to go somewhere too.
Julio keeps saying this, and we're at a point now where we are feeling like we are almost pressured to do a longer honeymoon for your sake.
Dude, no, I know your schedule already though. Whatever you end up doing, I will make sure I take advantage of that too.
Yeah, of course.
It's
of course.
nice to have, it's rare to have like a big chunk blocked off that far in advance.
Yeah,
Like that, you
yeah.
know?
Of course.
Well, dude, I've come up with something. Where are we at?
Yeah.
Perfect time to throw this in here to take us out. I've come up with a good way to plan a trip.
Okay.
Okay. So let me see. This is classic. I know. But give me a second to find it. So this can work and this can work for you however you want it to work, but there's certain things that are like general and then others that are specific to me. So if you look at a trip in this way, you won't miss anything. Because I always worry about that. I'm like, I'm going to go somewhere and then I'm going to completely miss the mark and I'm going to wish that I had done stuff and that sucks.
Mhm.
And there's very simple planning things that you can do. So first of all, see if there's any UNESCO sites in the country, because chances are that will be like the sickest sort of like history kind of thing, or nature too. Don't sleep on the UNESCO nature list. It's the real fucking deal.
Okay.
And you might not like, so the famous statue you'll hear about, but like the really dope nature preserve, you won't. And the UNESCO site will have it.
Okay.
So that's a good thing to have. Also, as you go, make a list of places that you want to go and just kind of like categorize them by different regions of the world. So every time you're going somewhere, check if there's anywhere that you've put on that list in the past. That's a good way to do it. I like to look at the Atlas Obscura website too, because that'll have like stuff that isn't traditionally listed. I think that's fun. Another thing, just literally Google search, what is said country known for? You will be amazed at how much you'll get out of that. And then for me, I add obviously a spa search. What are the dopest spas in the country?
Yeah.
And see if any of those are nearby. Do I know anybody who has roots there at all? Another important one. Because like if they're there, if they know people there, it'll make your experience 10 times better. And then of course, a restaurant, a cuisine search. You do all that, in my opinion.
Wow.
You can't go wrong.
You're going to have to write that down. That feels like something that's going to have to go up as a hard post.
I have it written down. If anybody wants it for whatever fucking reason,
Very cool.
send me a message.
Love it.
That's the deal.
All right, guys. Well, that's Oops the Podcast. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. I will be performing in Boston. Actually, sorry, Seattle, first and foremost, which is, I think, May 6th to the 8th. I'm just confirming that. It is May 6th to the 8th. Yep. In Seattle. And then I'm in Boston at Laughs Boston, May 19th to the 21st. I hope to see you guys there. Tickets at francisellis.com.
Sick. I'm doing Netflix's Joke Festival, April 29th. Pete Davidson and Friends show, and we're taping it live for Netflix too. It's going to be sick. I believe it's sold out, but there's resale tickets if you want to pay for that. So if you have tickets, I'll see you there. And if not, grab some and we'll talk to you guys soon.